This news program is proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Now Biscuits.
ECIPIC Governor Alan Bird asks for intervention on the economy. Ramu hydropower projects discussed on the floor of Parliament. Japan plans to dump nuclear power plant wastewater into the Pacific Ocean. A very good evening. This is National EMTV News. I'm Godwin Eki. Thank you for joining us. With the continuous increase in the prices of goods and services in the country, Governor for ECIPIC Alan Bird asked for an intervention by the government somehow to make the people aware on the things that are happening outside of the world that are also affecting the country.
During the Parliament sitting recently, Governor Bird highlighted some of the issues that are affecting the countries like the United States in terms of economy. He says there should be some mechanisms in place to help recognize what is happening in the other parts of the world.
The prolonged pandemic that the entire world faced in COVID, which forced a lot of governments to borrow, including ours. And the central banks around the world began to tighten interest rates in order to control inflation. And I noticed in Papua New Guinea in the last few months, there's been a lot of concern by the public on the issue of inflation, and many Papua New Guineans don't understand why we are facing inflation in Papua New Guinea, and we somehow feel that what's happening in the other parts of the world should not impact us. We are concerned with DSIP and fixing things in our district and fixing things in our province. We should have a mechanism that recognizes what is happening in the other parts of the world that affect us.
Governor Bird also explained how inflation is taking place in other parts of the world in the price of certain goods and services like fertilizer.
Ukraine-Russian war, fertilizer prices have increased 110% across the world. The two crops that rely heavily on fertilizer are rice and wheat. You will notice that this year the price of rice and the price of wheat globally has increased by 20%. Last year, some wheat producers increased prices by up to 160%. Now, I don't believe we should continue to bury our head in the sand and pretend that what's happening in the global economy will not affect us. We should be increasing local production so that we can offset some of these things that are happening globally. Now, our people in the towns and cities will feel this impact.
Bird further says COVID-19 and the Ukraine and Russian war has affected the whole world, and PNG cannot act as if this will not affect us. He says the central banks have tightened their interest rates to control inflation, and our central bank is not doing that. Samantha Solomon, National EMTV News.
The Minister for State Enterprises, William Duma, has advised employees of state-owned enterprises to perform actively and in compliance to company regulations. He made these statements during the opening of the Telecom Rumana's New Look reception in Port Moresby recently.
State Enterprises Minister William Duma, whilst commending Telecom Limited for their continued performance as a nationally owned company, elaborated on how each employee must go about working transparently for the betterment of the company's reputation. He made his remarks generally also to other state-owned entities.
If you're in the procurement section, you make sure you procure service for value. Services that are competitive and where possible save money for your company. If you're in charge of recruitment, make sure you recruit people who have the right qualifications. It does not matter where a person comes from. If he or she has that qualification, recruit that person.
Duma warned that regionalism shouldn't be a norm.
There is no space in this company or any other SOE company for regionalism or nepotism, or one-talkism, if I use this. Once you start doing that, you are destroying your company and yourself in the process.
He furthermore ensured on the assistance of the government.
As far as your government led by Prime Minister Marape is concerned, we will do everything we can within our budgetary constraints to help where possible in terms of budget allocations if there is money, or to help by making sure that you have a level playing field, help by making sure that you have the right people.
Grace Papiali, National EMTV News.
Questions were raised on the floor of Parliament earlier this week regarding the Ramu hydropower projects that have kept the people of the Eastern Highlands and Morobe province waiting for almost 19 years. This issue was raised by the member for Kainantu Open, William Hagahuno.
According to MP Hagahuno, people have been prepared and waiting for this project for almost 19 years. This project is categorized as one of the single biggest project at the cost of 3.2 billion kina.
Proposes to give free equity to the Morobe provincial government and the landowners, as well as East Highlands provincial government and the landowners. This has come as a relief to the landowners who have been silently providing power, generating and allowing for generation of power to develop Papua New Guinea, the 2 Momase provinces and 5 Highlands provinces.
He then questioned the state-owned enterprise minister, William Duma, on when the project will commence and the cause of the delay. This is Minister Duma's response.
Too late. As soon as we've signed the agreement, we've issued the guarantee, and project close has been reached, then construction hopefully will commence. And the landowners and the provincial government will then be invited to participate in those spin-off activities while waiting for the construction to take place. And then once ownership has then been transferred, they will then be equity owners, free carried equity after 25 years. So I can assure once again our good member that we are doing everything we can to progress this very important resource project.
Minister Duma acknowledged the current government for their recognitions towards the landowners of the Yonki Hydro who have been left behind since the project started in the 60s, and highlighted that this will set precedents for similar projects in other areas.
Recognize the contribution made by the people of Eastern Highlands, and it has made a decision to allow free equity to be given to the Eastern Highlands provincial government and the shareholders for 20% of that project, and another 20% free equity to the people of Morobe, who then will host the Wafi Golpu. So, Mr. Acting Speaker, this is the first time any government has recognized the people contributing to power through hydroelectricity project.
Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
Japan's plans to dump Fukushima nuclear power plant wastewater into the Pacific Ocean evokes regional concerns. Member for Kundiawa Gembol, Muguadilu, raised this concern in Parliament, asking the government if they have consulted Japan regarding the waste dumping.
In regards to Japan's plans on disposing more than 1 million tons of radioactive water into the Pacific Ocean, MP Dilu raised concerns, saying this will have direct impact of all Pacific Island nations, including Papua New Guinea, as the Pacific hosts a lot of marine biodiversity and tuna stock.
Now, the Pacific Ocean is host, especially the Western Pacific Ocean, is host to about 1/3 of the world's tuna stock. And we are host to also marine biodiversity that has a lot of value when it comes to blue ocean and blue carbon trade.
On that note, he asked the minister responsible for foreign affairs and trade, Justin Tachenko, on what the government of PNG is doing to address this issue.
Is it progressing any bilateral talks with the authorities in Japan so that they can stop the irresponsible behavior that they propose to undertake? Thank you.
In response, Minister Tachenko said the government has consulted the Japanese government on this matter, where the Japanese government said the radioactive water waste will be treated before releasing to the ocean.
He guaranteed that the radioactive water was perfectly treated and could be drunk as normal drinking water, and said that he will ensure that there was no radioactivity in this water at all.
Tachenko said more consultations have to be done before the waste are released. He said Japan will delay until further notice.
We will continue to fight to not allow for this nuclear or radioactivity contaminated water to be released and look at other alternatives that would be better off for the benefit of everyone for the long term.
Radioactive waste material is a byproduct from nuclear reactors, fuel processing plants, hospitals and research facilities. According to research, regardless of the source, the waste contains poisonous chemicals which can remain highly radioactive for years, posing a threat to agricultural land, fishing waters, freshwater sources and humans. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
Member for Kairuku, Peter Isoaimo, has raised concerns regarding the reopening of the now Lole Mining Limited, who has a 10 years mining license, now to mine the previous Tolukuma gold mine. Isoaimo said the mining waste disposals have caused environmental impacts in his district for over 25 years.
The people living around the mining area have been affected greatly over the years when the Tolukuma mining was operating.
The St. Joseph's Angabanga riverine has got sedimentation build up on the riverbed, which causes havoc as soon as the rain starts pouring in the mountains of Koilala district.
MP Isoaimo said the environmental impact faced in the district has not been addressed yet, and now a new mining company, Lole, has been given the license to operate. He questioned the Minister for Mining, Anopala, to confirm or deny whether a new license was given to the mine.
My question to the Minister is, can he deny or confirm that he did issue a mining lease to Lole Mining to recommence mining? And is he also going to look at the pollution issue?
Minister Pala then responded that the mining agreements and license are existing. Due to Tolukuma mining going through liquidation, the mining exploration has been put on hold. Now that Lole Mining Limited pays the liquidator, it now has the right to mine.
That license is still there. And now that the company has found a way out of that liquidation, it is now going into business.
He said there is no new license being issued and that the government has to honor its agreements by letting the mining company explore. However, he said he has taken the concerns raised by Isoaimo seriously.
So we will look at every way possible to minimize the impact of the waste dumping in the rivers.
Kairuku MP Isoaimo has been vocal about the mine waste disposal since taking office in Parliament. The former Tolukuma mining was disposing mining waste into rivers without finding a proper way to dispose its waste over the years. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
The Governor for Gulf Province, Chris Haiveta, has expressed concern about the mischaracterization of his remarks on the issue relating to the management of the Croton equity transaction recently made at the Papua LNG front-end engineering design announcement launching in Port Moresby earlier this month. His statements were introduced through a press release prior this weekend.
Gulf Governor Chris Haiveta appealed to the state-owned agencies on the importance of learning the lessons from the Foundation LNG project and improve in other projects. This will present PNG with stability in investment and that landowners have their equal share. With the recent launching of the Papua LNG front-end engineering design 2 weeks ago, Governor Haiveta said, upon noting the current discussions between the Mineral Resources Development Corporation and Kumul Petroleum Holdings Limited, regarding the transaction of the Croton equity benefit for project area landowners as was agreed with the state in Kokopo and UBSA and the various LBBSAs, particularly with the confusion that was being created by having 2 competing landowner benefit management structures, one under MRDC and the other under KPHL. Haiveta said his remarks to both MRDC and KPHL was mainly to sort out the issue and reach a clear understanding of the respective mandates when it comes to managing the project area landowner benefits. He reasoned that his statement was for both MRDC and KPHL to learn lessons from the PNG LNG project Croton equity issue and ensure that any additional benefit which is to be given to landowners are done so in agreements which are based on existing laws. Grace Papiali, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. Vice Minister for Mining and Border Development and member for Northfly, James Donald, clarified to people of Western Province and Papua New Guinea that work is in progress for border development within the province. He revealed this after visiting the border area in his district recently.
In a recent visit to Putmampin Yetetkun along PNG-Indonesia border area, James Donald clarified that connecting the two countries will benefit the people in terms of bilateral trade.
It's not between Western Province and Indonesia, no. It's between Papua New Guinea and Indonesia.
He elaborated the joint understanding between PNG and Indonesia.
Recalling the Treaty of Mutual Respect, Friendship, Cooperation that was signed on the 27th of October 1986, 37 years ago. Number 2, recalling also the basic agreement on border arrangement that was signed by the Foreign Affairs Ministers of both countries on the 17th day of June 2013 in Jakarta, Indonesia, which is waiting to be rectified by the Papua New Guinea national government.
The joint understanding further states in acknowledging two leaders' commitment to PNG Indonesia comprehensive partnership, it is for promoting peace, stability and prosperity between the two countries and people based on mutual respect, trust and benefits. On February 28, 2023, Minister for International Trade and Investment Richard Maru, together with leaders of Western Province, visited the Putmampin Yetetkun border area. Minister Richard Maru said the province has the potential to cater for economic activities.
All of us have a duty to carve out a new path for Western Province and make sure we build an economy over the next 20 years that will have the jobs. So when Octeri finally closes, it will not matter because the jobs are here, even more jobs than today.
Western Governor Taboy Awiyoto said health, education, enabling infrastructure, and agribusiness are the key pillars the Fly River Provincial Government is working on to improve the province, and involving in economic zone is a welcoming news for them.
We came up with the health plan, we came up with the education plan, we came up with the agribusiness plan, and now we have a plan that's called West Agro Master Plan.
Jim John, National EMTV News.
BSP Financial Group Limited and community partner, the Brisbane Broncos, have launched the 2023 BSP Financial Literacy Training in Port Moresby. The literacy training was launched in Boroko Primary School. Over 100 Grade 4 students were part of the launch. This will see BSP visit Grade 4 and 10 students in selected schools to conduct the training during the year. This is part of Brisbane Broncos community drive with BSP. The issue on teachers missing out on the Consumer Price Index continues onto the floor of Parliament. When member for Moresby North East, John Cowper, asked a question without notice to Minister for Public Service, Joe Sungi, on whether they will get paid or not.
Member for Port Moresby North East, John Cowper, asked Minister for Public Service, Joe Sungi, on teachers missing out on their Consumer Price Index for this year, while all the other public servants are benefiting from it. He asked him to clarify if the teachers are eligible to benefit from the CPI for this year.
Will the teachers be paid a salary increase like any other public servants? Then what percentage they are going to be paid? And if the answer is yes also, when are they going to be paid their salary increase?
In response, Minister Sungi says the Teaching Service Commission and PNG Teachers Association have to come in good terms and come forward for his department to give the teachers their CPIs.
Number one, yes, they are entitled for the 3%. Second, the issue that we have, that my department, the Department of Personnel Management, is waiting for now is for the Teachers Union or the PNGTA to get themselves organized so that they will sort out the matter with the Teacher Service Commission. Then from there, the process comes through us, to my department, and Treasury or Finance will be able to release the funding to pay the 3% to them.
He says after that, their CPIs will go through due processes for the teachers to get their shares like any other public servants. However, in a recent media conference, PNG Teachers Association President Aita Sanenkepe says they have already fixed the issue and their employee, PNG TSC, has already submitted the claims to the Department of Personnel Management.
The Teaching Service Commission, all court proceedings, including the former president, the general secretary, there's no court case now. This morning, our lawyer came and informed us that there's no case against me, including my executives. All cases are done with. And we are now recognized to proceed and serve teachers in the country. Personally, I approached the Department of Personnel Management, submitted 3%. And we have been waiting for receiving when they're going to pay 3%.
Secretary for Education Dr. Okikombra also shared the same sentiments and says teachers have to be treated fairly like the other public servants. Samantha Solomon, National EMTV News.
A bill is now before Parliament to increase the number of cabinet ministers from 32 to 38. Prime Minister James Marape introduced a bill this week to amend the Prime Minister and National Executive Council Act to bring up the number of ministries because of the increased workload and to cater for the addition in the number of electorates in recent times.
In our country.
Prime Minister Marape said more ministers were needed to manage key sectors and address pressing development issues to keep up with the fast increasing growth rate of the country. He said on the eve of the 10th Parliament, government presented the Electoral Boundaries Commission report and Parliament approved 7 new open seats to be included in the 2022 election, and now we have 118 seats in Parliament. He adds that consistent with the approval last year, by 2027 a further 5 seats will be included in this Parliament, highlighting that gives the government an opportunity to better build up people's representation in Parliament and to better distribute the nation's resources. Marape further added that there is a need to start counter this increase. Thus, new ministers is vital, getting competent ministers in, so the government can concentrate on those sectors that are lying ideal or need more focus and improve service delivery in these areas. Sharon Engnui, National MTV News.
National MTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National MTV News. Chairman for Kikori Gas Pipeline Project, Mark Sarong, is calling on the national government to look into working closely with China as a way forward to building the country's economy. He said many a times the government's decision on having foreign investment and serving the foreign interest has led to Papua New Guineans suffer in the long run, and for the government to tighten its laws on foreign investments in the country. According to Sarong, the way forward for the country is to work closely with China in a commercial understanding using the country's resources such as forestry and agriculture, and utilizing those to earn economic benefits from China and paying it back without any conditions stipulated in the contract when borrowing money from China rather than from the World Bank.
Foreigners are saying that they're coming to invest in this country, but they're not investing in this country. They are getting our money, our resources, and they're investing it outside. Banking outside, backing the money outside of the country is the cause of this country's economic situation, where we have no cash flow in this country.
Sarong said the other biggest challenge faced by the country is foreign investment. He said the term foreign investment does not make any sense because foreign businesses operating in the country are not investing nor banking their profits in the country, leaving the country in economic turmoil.
We have no foreign currency exchange in this country, completely nothing. All our commercial banks are banking money outside, they're packing all the money outside of the country. So there's nothing. We need central bank to control all the commercial banks. The loan policy, investment policies have to be changed. Taking money out of this country have to be changed. Papua New Guinea wants to change and economically, financially become independent. These are the things that we need to control by government.
Sarong added that there is no cash flow turnover in the country to sustain the country's economy and push foreign currency up. He said that foreign currency is a problem in this country. Sarong added that many acts that country is using, especially when it comes to natural resources such as forestry, oil and gas, fisheries, copper and gold, need to change to suit the interests of the people and help combat the many issues people are currently facing both in urban and rural areas of Papua New Guinea.
We're talking about borrowing the money from IMF and World Bank. This newspaper here talks about it. We're still serving the foreign industry here. We need to change this country's policy. This democracy has to be changed. Democracy policy has to be changed immediately. We need guided democracy, so we don't tolerate with foreigners misleading this country in our long-term investment plans.
A concerned citizen and chairlady for Kikori Gas Pipeline Project Segment 6, Mata Kaya, with so much going on around the country affecting the lives of many Papua New Guineans, is challenging the leaders of this nation to act now. She stressed that unemployment levels in the city are increasing rapidly, and does the government have any plans for university students moving forward when it comes to employment? Concerned about the high increase of unemployment levels in the city is chairlady for Segment 6 Kikori Gas Pipeline Project, Mata Saya, who described unemployment as a sad reality.
It's very, very sad. And very, very sad because I saw all our young generation lining up at that hotel to get a job. And it was very, very sad. Out of say 200, it was only 10 got a job. That's sad.
She said with the country now in crucial times, the government needs to act now and think seriously about the many issues that's affecting Papua New Guineans. She said PNG has vast resources that the country should utilize to fix its economy moving forward.
Why can't we look to a different angle to look forward for this country to move forward? We have gold, we have silver, we have everything here. We have fish, we have agriculture, as what he said, and we have, you name it. World is looking into this country here.
She is urging the government to make firm decisions as it will affect Papua New Guineans at the end of the day.
And this is very, very serious in this country. And you know what? As a mother sitting here, I have children. And as a woman leader, it's very sad. And I don't want anything more to talk, but please, leaders, you check yourselves and check properly into these issues of your country. That is very, very important. This point of economic is dropping down. Our kina doesn't match any part of the world. We are nobody. But we have resources. Start working on it right now and look into the resources that you have in the country.
She said the future of this country is in the hands of the leaders. The Chief Executive Officer of PNG Tourism Promotion Authority, Eric Mosman Vovo, says the tourism sector in the country will resume its normal business operations. He said they are focusing on new marketing strategy that will capture new marketing initiatives with the focus on domestic tourism. He revealed this during the official launching of their 3-year corporate plan 2023 to 2026 in Port Moresby last Friday.
2023 is a year of growth and implementation in the tourism sector. As we expect a significant growth in the tourism sector this year, with very promising focus on the cruise tourism sector, we are expecting over 100 cruise boats into Papua New Guinea this year in 2023, carrying over 90,000 cruise passengers into Papua New Guinea, and with a direct economic impact to the PNG economy through tax and levies of over $40 million. We have a lot to offer to Papua New Guinea.
Former Maprik MP John Simon has hit back at Maprik MP Gabriel Caprice on returning assets belonging to the district bought using District Services Improvement Program funds. In an exclusive interview with EMTV News, the former MP denied having any district assets, stating that everything had been returned and that the only thing he had on him is a vehicle approved by the Maprik DDA for him to use in his capacity as member for Maprik.
Upon a visit to his office, we found him smiling happily and spoke of current Maprik MP Gabriel Caprice's call for all assets bought using DSRP funds must be returned to the district for new board members to use. This was Mr. Simon's response.
I want to make it plainly, very, very clear to the people of Papua New Guinea. I am not holding anything that belongs to the district back with me. Everything that belongs to the district, we have released it back to them. And even the vehicles that belong to the district, and even the vehicles when I was the minister, it was purchased under programs. His supporters are using these vehicles now as PNB trucks, doing their private runs. And even those government vehicles bought under public funds are being used by his supporters as private cars.
The former politician said the current member for Maprik needs to take ownership and ensure to get those assets back from his supporters.
Those are not his supporters' car. Those are district program vehicles. Like the vehicle under LDC, the vehicle under COCOBOT, the vehicle under CIC. I, as the minister, we had programs running in the whole of ECPIC. And those vehicles were there. They are not my vehicle. But he had to get it back and give it to his supporters, and his supporters are driving this vehicle as private cars. What do you just imagine? He's got no control over himself and his supporters. But I've got nothing that belongs to the district.
The former member for Marprik explained that he has only had 2 vehicles in his possession.
That belong to the district that is with me are 2 vehicles that I used. There was 2 vehicles purchased for me. First vehicle during my first term, and the next vehicle in my second term. And these vehicles, I use it. And they are still with me now. But look, the honorable member, you want these vehicles, I can give it to you. I thought, being member for Marprik and former member, you would have some respect. And said, I'm all right. Car em yusim langem, larem em yusim. Ogada sami lo district, come back lo district.
According to Mr. Simon, the current member should have checked the Marprik district administrator. Instead of forcing him out, he would have got the checks and balances he needed and where all assets were.
All you need to do is write a letter to me. Said, former member, I need the car that you're using too because I don't have a car. I can't buy a car. The car you're using, I want to drive it too. I'll give it to you. You're the member. You are in charge of the district. I mean, you are the honorable member for district. I have no problem with that. So now that I saw on the media and people are calling me and asking me, I've talked to my family. The car is parked at my house. You can have that car, Caprice. I have no problem. Am I right? One bell is time. Kisim na yushim.
In concluding, Mr. Simon said if the current MP, Gabriel Caprice, is upset that he had taken him to court over the recent election petition, then he must also remember the outstanding legal costs incurred from the previous election still owed. Rocky Iso, National MTV News.
National MTV News continues after the break. Stay with us.
Kikori Sports.
Welcome to Kikori Sports. The SPPNG Hunters have drawn against the South Logan Magpies 22-all yesterday in round 2 of the Host Plus Cup at the Logan Metro Football Field in Queensland, Australia. The Hunters will head back home to Port Moresby as they prepare for round 3 and 4, which will take place this coming weekend at the Santos Football Stadium in Port Moresby.
With the notable inclusion of SPPNG Hunters centre Roderick Tai back in the squad, the Hunters opened the scoring of the match few minutes from the opening whistle through Tai. A missed conversion by Hunters Jamie Mavako left the scores 4-0 in favour of the Hunters side. The Magpies fought back with a combination of tries by Alex Fido and Jack Svensson, with 2 successful conversions through Jack Campignolo, transforming the scoreboards to 12 points to 8 as the Magpies took the lead. The scores remained the same right through the opening half of the match. The Hunters came back stronger in the second half, which saw them securing another 14 points, only to draw to the Magpies as they evened the scores with 12-all at the sound of the final siren. Both teams have commenced the season with commendable wins in round 1 of the Host Plus Cup last weekend. Last season's round 11 saw the Hunters beating the Magpies 26-22 in their away match at Runaway Bay in Gold Coast. Meanwhile, the Hunters will return to Papua New Guinea for their home ground matches in rounds 3 and 4. Both matches will be played at the Santos National Football Stadium in Port Moresby. Lisa Puni, Kikori Sports.
Kikori Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Kikori Sports.
You're watching Kikori Sports. The Port Moresby Women's Basketball League held its junior tournament today at the Tarama Aquatic and Indoor Centre. The tournament commenced its pre-season 2 weeks ago and entered its season proper today.
The Port Moresby Women's Basketball League under the PNG Basketball Federation competition for juniors commenced its season proper today. These saw a total of 9 basketball clubs competing under 5 divisions ranging from under 10 to under 19 divisions. a new club inclusion onto the competition out of the existing 8 clubs was a team from Tauranga. This was emphasized by Port Moresby Women's Basketball League Juniors Competition Coordinator Peggy Murray.
From WBL competition that is under Federation, junior competition from under 10 to under 19. Currently we have 8 teams, and today we have a new inclusion, Tauranga Barracks. So we got 9 teams in this competition.
Coordinator Murray added that this was the 3rd week of the juniors competition and they are into their season proper, commencing today.
3rd week now, 3rd Sunday. We had 2 previous week on Sundays. We had pre-season, and today is the proper season. Today.
The season proper will run as per the number of affiliated clubs in the competition and is tipping for 2 months duration. The Port Moresby Women's Basketball League Junior Competition will take place every Sunday at the Tauranga Aquatic and Indoor Centre. Lisa Puni, Trukai Sports.
Moving to overseas sports in NRL, the Brisbane Broncos remain undefeated as they look forward to face the Dolphins next week.
The Broncos trailed 16-8 at halftime but piled on 4 tries in the final 8 minutes to see off a stubborn Dragons side 40 points to 18. Kikori Staggs and Reece Walsh both scored doubles. It's the first time since 2009 the Broncos have won their opening 3 matches of the season.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby partly cloudy with possible showers and thunderstorm. Popondetta partly cloudy with few showers. In the Mamase region, Ley partly cloudy with brief showers tonight. Vanimo cloudy with rain showers at times and possible thunderstorm. In the New Guinea Islands region, Loringau cloudy with some showers and possible thunderstorm. Buka mostly fine. In the Highlands region, Mount Hagen partly cloudy with few showers. Wabeg mostly cloudy with few showers.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Sunday, the 19th of March, 2023. From the entire news team, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.